I want to bring in our Ricky Kleeman to walk us through all of this. Ricky, we've just heard about the sentencing, the judge, a New York judge sentencing 23 years behind bars for Harvey Weinstein. What's your reaction to this sentence?
It's long. I'm not being flip. I had said in the early morning that I thought that the sentence would be somewhere between 10 and 20. Probably in the early morning, I would have said, if I followed it up, that I thought it would be closer to the 10 than the 20.
Wow.
23 years is a very, very long time. That is not to say that it is unwarranted, because a judge has various factors in considering punishment. He considers the element of punishment, to punish. He considers the possibility of rehabilitation. He considers deterrence to this individual defendant. And the most important factor in this case is he considers deterrence generally. And if there was any case that became the symbol of Me Too, it is Harvey Weinstein. And general deterrence to men in the future is to say, no, you cannot use your power. No, you cannot take advantage. No, if someone says no, it is no. If they act like it is no, it is no. And that the reality is that if you persist against a woman's will, or by force or compulsion, obviously, that you are going to be severely punished, even if she complains months or years later.
You know, Harvey Weinstein's attorney, Donna Rotuno, spoke after this verdict was reached. I want to play for you after the sentencing what she had to say.
That number spoke to the pressure of movements and the public. That number did not speak to the evidence that came out at trial. That number did not speak to the testimony that we heard. That number did not speak to evidence, nor did it speak to justice.
What is she referring to, that it didn't speak to the evidence or the testimony?
What she was saying is that you have two women who were the New York accusers in this case, who continue to have relationships with Harvey Weinstein, one for business and one because it was a social relationship, and that what was done to them would not warrant a sentence of 23 years. By the way, in order to appeal the sentence, what they would do is they would tack that on to their legal appeals about legal issues. Now, a sentence can only be lessened by an appellate court if the appellate court were not to reverse the whole case and send it back for a new trial.
Wow.
That they would look at the sentence itself. Is it illegal? No, it is not illegal because it is within the parameters of the statutes. But is it harsh or is it excessive? Well, how do you measure that? It's very simple. What have other defendants in the state of New York received under similar circumstances? One of the defense lawyers in the press conference, Arthur Idella, who is the New York lawyer, said that it was 3 times what the usual defendant would receive, even one who had prior record of violence. Now, I cannot confirm that particular comment of Mr. Idella's, but the defense has a very easy task to take a look through the records of the Correctional Bureau and then go through and see what others have received. I will say this. While I think that the sentence is permissible, considering the ability to look at general deterrence in all of Harvey Weinstein's acts as uncharged misconduct that the prosecution brought to the judge's attention, that in my days of trying cases or covering cases, for a crime of this nature, for someone his age as a first offense, let alone someone with health issues, that it is very high.
So bottom line here, Ricky, he's going to spend life behind bars?
Well, I think he's going to spend life behind bars on the basis that for Harvey Weinstein, at age 67, in very ill health, it appears, and that is not feigning, he wound up getting a stent in Bellevue Hospital. He clearly is having difficulty with his balance. He fell at Rikers Island. That for Harvey Weinstein, the prosecution, or rather the defense, argued that 5 years was a life sentence. Well, probably that's exaggerating. But if you look at anything like 23, he's going to be 90. The life expectancy is somewhere between 78 and 81 in good health.
And Ricky, knowing this situation in New York, this case in New York, there's also a pending case in Los Angeles. How does today's sentencing affect, or does it at all, what happens in Los Angeles?
If I am the prosecutor in Los Angeles, I say I have to do justice for the victims in Los Angeles. And if those two women anyone would like to go forward with their cases, it is always their decision, that they will then get justice, and I, as the prosecutor, will go forward with that case. How does it work logistically? Harvey Weinstein becomes a New York State prisoner. He is designated to a prison. It has been said that the logical choice is Fishkill. It's about 70 miles outside of New York City. It does have a medical wing. That Harvey Weinstein would then be, in essence, put on loan from the New York Correctional Bureau and brought in custody to Los Angeles. Wow. He would be put in a jail while his trial is pending and while his trial takes place. And then, convicted or acquitted, he would be sent back to New York to do his New York time first. If he's convicted in L.A., it becomes consecutive.
Wow. So Weinstein is expected, our understanding is, to appeal his conviction.
Oh, yes.
So where does that go?
There are two levels of appellate courts in New York State. You can rest assured that if he loses in either one, he will continue to appeal till all his appeals are exhausted. He has a myriad of issues, beginning with the motions for change of venue for prejudicial pretrial publicity and continuing all the way to the verdict form and the jury instructions. Damien Sharonis, one of the lawyers from Chicago, moved countless times for a mistrial, over and over again. I lost count at some point. And he has preserved issues for appeal, and there are many. And many of them have a lot of substance. That doesn't necessarily mean that the conviction gets overturned.
All right, Ricky Kleeman, thank you very much for this update.